Hi everyone, and welcome to the first video in a small series of UV unwrapping a cube using Blender 3D. And we're going to unwrap it in this first video, and then in the second video we'll get the UV map out of Blender, we'll bring it into Krita, and we'll paint some custom textures. And then in the third video we'll bring it all back into Blender and get it ready for the game engine so it's all viewable and everything like that. Okay, so in this first one here I'm going to just press Shift A. I'm going to add in a mesh cube. There we go. I'm going to come up here to the top right hand corner, come to these little diagonal lines, left click, drag to the left. That gives me a vertical split. And then I'm going to change this window here on the right. I'm going to change this from a 3D view to a UV image editor. And I can zoom in and zoom out with the scroll wheel, and I can hold down the scroll wheel and pan. I'm not going to need this toolbar over here on the left, so I'm just going to come over here to the left, press T, and there goes my toolbar. Okay, so now I'm going to press Tab and get into edit mode on the cube. And if I just, you have to select all to unwrap. And if I just unwrap now by pressing U and choosing unwrap, you'll see that I see one face over here in the UV unwrap. It's not actually one, it's actually all 6 sides of the cube, but they're stacked on top of each other. So that means that if I put a texture here right now, that texture will then be on all 6 sides, which could be great, but I don't want that. I want to take it a step further, and I want to be able to see all 6 sides laid out flat in the UV window so that I can paint different things on them. So what I need to do is I need to do something called marking seams. So I'm going to press A to deselect all. I'm going to come down here to the bottom of my 3D window, and I'm going to change to edge mode. And I'm going to go ahead and, so that you can see this better, I'm going to switch to wireframe mode, so you can actually see through the cube there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start selecting edges. You need to be in edge mode so you can then do what's called marking seams. So I'm going to go ahead and start by selecting, by shift right clicking, these 3 edges right here. And to mark them as seams, I'm going to press Control E, and that brings up the edges menu, and I'm going to choose Mark Seam. Be very careful of down here where it says Mark Sharp. If you accidentally mark an edge as sharp, you can then go ahead and clear it. But I'm going to choose Mark Seam. And now you'll see that those 3 are in fact now marked as seams. They're red. I'm going to then go ahead and select these 2 over here, and then I'm going to select these 2 in the back, like that. Again, Control E, Mark Seam, and now you can kind of see what those are there. Alright, so what that means now is that Blender will cut with like scissors wherever it is marked red, and then the edges that are not marked will just be like hinges. So to unwrap, I'm going to press A to select all, I'm going to press U to unwrap, and I'm going to choose unwrap. And you'll see that now I get this sort of this T pattern here. So you could leave it like this right now. You could also come over to the UV window and you could press R and 90 and make it perfect 90 degrees. You could then, you need all of your UV islands to actually be here on the grid. So you could press G and grab it and just try to place it. Let's see, I believe you can also press Control P, there we go, and that will do what's called packing the islands, and that puts them in there as well. So I'm just going to leave it very much like Blender has right here. And for the final step in this video, I need to export the UVs to get them out of Blender to be prepared for painting, which will be in part 2. So the way you do that is in the UV editor, make sure you press A, make sure they're all selected. We're going to come down here to the bottom menu and we're going to go to UVs, and we're going to choose Export UV Layout. Once we do that, I'm just going to navigate to my desktop, it is going to be a ping file, and I'm going to come right up here and I'm going to go ahead and just call this cube, maybe UV unwrap, something like that. Makes sense. Okay, and that will be a ping and export UV layout. And that's it. I'll see you in the next video and we'll get to some painting. Thank you.